This podcast of the Model Health Show is presented to you by Shawn Stevenson with RareGem Productions. For more information, visit theshawnstevensonmodel.com.
Welcome to the Model Health Show. This is your host, nutritionist Shawn Stevenson, and I'm here with my lovely co-host and producer, Jade Harrell. How are you doing today, Jade?
I'm doing fantastic today.
Yes,
Very
you
glad
are.
to be here.
Yes,
Thank
you are.
Give thanks.
Well, we decided that we're going to go ahead and jump right in today and get into what I feel to be the biggest topic in health and nutrition in the entire world, which is heart disease.
Oh, dear, yes.
So now let's hit the reverse, get back on track, and I'm going to talk about the cholesterol issue really quickly. Now, just because cholesterol is not the causative factor of heart disease is not to say that it's not a contributing factor.
So
Okay.
we have the problem, and so intrinsically there's a solution. Or if the cause isn't cholesterol, then where is it coming from?
To answer that question, it's a multitude of things.
I got it.
It's a combination of things coming together to create the issue. Okay, so cholesterol is a contributing factor, and here's why. So you've heard about HDL and LDL. So HDL is high density lipoprotein. Okay.
High density lipoprotein.
Right. And then LDL is low density lipoprotein.
Low density lipoprotein.
Now notice, I'm going to ask you a question. Did I say cholesterol?
Yes.
No.
You didn't.
No, because high density lipoprotein, low density lipoprotein, that's not cholesterol.
That's not.
It's another one of those marketing things. When people say my bad cholesterol, my good cholesterol, it's not cholesterol.
And we do call the HDL is your bad and LDL is your good.
What those are carriers of cholesterol and other things. They're carriers. They're carrier molecules. Okay. So the high density lipoprotein, that's a fat and a protein combined together. Okay. Same thing with the low density lipoprotein. It's just the density of the carrier. The high density lipoproteins, they have a much greater incidence of being able to travel throughout your bloodstream safely because they're more dense. The lower density ones have a tendency to get caught up in different places in your cardiovascular system, in your bloodstream. And if they get caught up somewhere, they can create inflammation, a blockage, heart attack, stroke, clock out.
So the LDL is what they've been labeling or calling the bad cholesterol.
Yeah. It's not bad in of itself. We need it. Okay. It helps to shuttle things throughout your body. It's very important. But to have too many of them can create like a traffic jam, essentially. And here's how you actually
have too many of the carriers.
Yeah, it's basically like having too many cars on the road, right?
Yeah.
So you want to you want to have it. Absolutely, it's not bad. But if there's too many, then we get into a place where it can be dangerous. But even if there's a lot of cars on the road, still doesn't mean there's danger, but there's a higher tendency.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, so here's how the low density lipoprotein, the LDL bad cholesterol, is actually elevated. Okay, this is you can throw them statins away if you hear what I'm saying.
Hey.
Okay, now we were programmed, and so was I in school when I went to my university, that you want to avoid foods that have a lot of high cholesterol. You want to eggs and then fatty meats and things like that. Even coconut oil, but it doesn't even have cholesterol really. That's just made up. It doesn't even have cholesterol. But those are things that we were told to avoid. Okay. So the truth is 90% of the cholesterol that's in your body is produced by your liver. 10% comes directly from your diet. Okay.
So it's not what we're taking in.
Yeah.
It's what we're putting out.
Yeah. Now, there's a little bit of a thin line with this. Okay.
Well, sure.
So the 10% from the diet is what I'm talking about. Cholesterol in foods directly transferring over to cholesterol in your body. So say an egg has a certain amount of cholesterol and that cholesterol showing up in your body. It's only going to determine about 10% of what's there. How your body's producing more cholesterol if you have high cholesterol is actually caused partly by your diet, but not directly from your diet. Your liver's producing it because of other things you're eating. Okay. Now here's what they are. When you consume carbohydrates, all right, pasta, cake, brownies, cookies, chips, any of the delicious carbohydrates out there, even healthy ones, like a lot of fruit and a lot of, even funny enough, dairy is a high carbohydrate food, which a lot of people don't trip off of that. lactase,
Sure.
So it's a sugar.
'Cause we're
Anyways,
going after those calcium things right there.
so when you consume a high quantity of carbohydrates, you're going to fill up your muscle glycogen if you need it. If people are doing training, whatnot, that's important. But then your body does something very smart. Instead of having all that sugar in your bloodstream from eating a lot of sugar, okay, which can lead to insulin resistance and diabetes, your body will start to store it in your liver, okay? And it fills up your liver, and it's called liver glycogen. And like endurance athletes actually do that on purpose so that they can do their particular race and still have some energy that their liver can break down and use later. Now, here's the big issue. Once your liver glycogen gets filled, your body can't put that sugar back into your bloodstream because it can literally kill you. You can't have sugar just floating around like that. So what it's going to do is actually turn it into something else. Because with your body's infinite intelligence, it will turn that extra sugar into something called palmitic acid. Okay.
Palmitic acid.
Now, the palmitic acid, PA, gets packaged with cholesterol, other proteins, other fatty acids, and it creates a molecule called VLDL, very low dense lipoprotein. Okay. So by eating all those carbohydrates, we're actually creating something that's very low dense lipoprotein. Okay. So not just low dense lipoprotein.
The low one, okay. So if the LDL was getting caught up because too many of them on the road and they're lighter, so they're not as resilient. If they're very light.
Yes. Bigger
and
problem.
There's too many of them. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
God.
And that's all coming from eating carbohydrates in the first place. All right.
Dear.
And it's just the way it is.
Creating a heart attack.
Yeah. And it's not because of the cholesterol foods that people have been eating for a long time. We evolved really as hunter-gatherers, eating a significant amount of animal proteins. And we know now through anthropological records that the incidence of heart disease was just negligible in the past. Today, it's rampant, and why we've switched over to a very high carbohydrate-based nutrition strategy.
Absolutely.
It's at the base of the pyramid. We're told to eat more of that than anything.
More of that, right.
Okay. So we have to be conscientious of this.
It's the most accessible. It's the most promoted.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is a little fun fact.
I feed it to my kids in drones.
Yes. I did too.
Because they need snacks and such.
And they're so easy. And the thing is, they're so cheap.
They're so easy. And they're cheap. You know we're on a budget, and time is the biggest crunch.
Yeah, it's a tough situation for sure, Jade.
It's bananas. Yeah. I love the light bulb, but boy, it's bright.
Yeah, it's tough. Once you find this out, it's something that's kind of tough to address and to alter your life for. But the question is, how important is this for you?
We're altering our life toward living more so than altering our life is such a disruption.
Yeah. And again, it's believing, is it possible for me? Is there a solution? Can my spirit be guided to make the decisions that are going to help me and my family? And it's true. Yes, absolutely it can. But it's being aware of it. It's being aware of it and seeing the blessings that are getting thrown at you every day that we're just blocking out because we got this tunnel vision and thinking this is the only way it is.
Sure.
So
with it being such a huge piece, a huge humongous piece, we pull it, there's a big space there. What do we replace it with?
That's a great question. All right. So very simply, the 5 categories: fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and animal protein. Those are the 5 things that human beings have been consuming forever. All right. You can't really go wrong with those things. But the newer things, this whole category of these processed grain foods, this is a newer thing in our evolution. It's been about 10,000 years ago. Agriculture kicked off and we started mass producing grains. All right. And since then, with anthropological records, you can look and see the incidence of, bone cancers and, traces of different cancers and heart disease and bone issues, cavities, and all these things start popping up because people eat more grains. It's a dualistic thing. It allowed us to create civilizations and not have to move around and look for food. And we can sit still in one place and be more creative and think about other things about life and creation and building and expanding. So we've been able to create cities and and wonderful things of that nature, computers and the way that we're connecting with everybody now, cell phones and, but it's.
And surely we meant well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Feed more people.
Feed more people with so many. But then say I thought this was going to be, one of the wish lists of, we want to solve world hunger.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I wouldn't be doing my brothers and sisters a big favor by shipping them a bunch of rice and grain.
Right. And this is the thing. What it can do is it can help
we
you.
See heart disease
yes.
increased in
very much
other
so.
countries where, wow.
Yeah. What it can help you do is to survive, not thrive. All right. That's it right there. So.
Yes, sir.
Once you understand that, do you want to survive or do you want to thrive? Do you want to just get by?
Thrive.
Exactly. But it can help you to reproduce, stay alive for a while, but your quality of life is not going to be that great. Your body's going to be breaking down from the inside very fast, So it's just evaluating that and asking that question. Now, the next thing that I want to look at, okay, so we talked about cholesterol and what the real cause is. This is something that would be maybe better for people if they could see it visually created. And I did some videos for that, and we can maybe put in the show notes to understand it a little bit better. But just understand that the cholesterol is an issue, and it's coming from a high carbohydrate diet. Here's another big issue with heart disease.
Okay.
Hormones. Okay. Hormones.
Hormones.
I'm going to use that, Jade.
Yes, sir.
Hormones are the name of the game. That's how your body's communicating with itself. Okay, so basically, hormones are chemical messengers that transmit signals or messages from one cell to another. It's how your body communicates with itself. So they're pretty important, obviously. Now, when that communication gets screwed up, it's a problem, right? Yeah. So now,
the telephone game.
Let's understand, high blood pressure is going to be a big issue. It's another contributing factor to heart disease. If you get stressed out, if you're running around, if you're worried, angry, your body's going to produce more of those stressful hormones and elevate your blood pressure. It's natural. Your blood pressure is going to be up and down all day, every day, because that's what it does. But if somebody goes in and they just happen to be having a stressful day or they didn't sleep well, I've had clients go in and get tested after being up all night, and they ended up getting prescribed a blood pressure medication. And they went back 2 weeks later because I think they got injured at work or something, and their blood pressure was fine without the medication. Just because of when they went in, they got diagnosed, because of the time of day or the stressful conditions. Now, some people have chronically elevated blood pressure, and that's an issue.
They have constantly stressful
Exactly.
situations.
You just said it. We need to look at that first instead of treating the symptom, because guess what the drug is doing? Adding more stress.
It is.
It's just a different stress. That's why you have a, quote, side effect. You might be lowering your blood pressure, but now, you got to pee every, you got to get up 5 times a night. You're messing with your prostate or your bladder or whatever. You can't try and trick the system, So here's a big takeaway for everybody. The blood pressure is not regulated. When we think about blood pressure, we usually think about what organ in our body?
Your heart.
You got it. Most people think of your heart, but your blood pressure is also, or even more so in some cases, regulated by your kidneys, okay? Which are your lower back.
Kidneys.
All right. Your kidneys are communicating directly with something in your brain called the hypothalamus. It's like the master gland in your brain.
Sure.
And if your brain senses that there are too many dissolved solids in your blood, okay, so basically debris in your blood, it's going to trigger a secretion of something called antidiuretic hormone, which is a hormone that communicates with your kidneys to basically open its pores up to allow more water to get back into your bloodstream. Basically, filtered water from your kidneys. So it's kind of like eventual pee. It's kind of like pre-pee is getting put back into your system because you're dehydrated, right? And it's kind of gross, but this is what your body has, this infinite intelligence to keep you alive. So if it senses this, if there's not enough clean, healthy, fresh water coming in to keep your blood nice and smooth and at the right viscosity or thickness or thinness, then it's going to be putting pre-pee back into your system to thin that blood out. Okay, so it's another thing to do with your hormones. It's a stressor. So this is going to lead also to the tips that I'm going to give. So that's one of them. If you already kind of got the heads up of what you need to do, which is to drink something. I'm not going to say the name to keep it so that your blood stays at the right viscosity. Okay. So we addressed stress. We addressed high blood pressure. We addressed cholesterol. And please, everyone, write this down. Remember this. Blood pressure rises in response to elevated insulin levels.
Blood pressure rises in response to elevated insulin levels.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
It down.
So we hear blood pressure. We think it's separate from blood sugar. It's your blood. Okay. If something's going on with your blood, it's going to be a problem. So if insulin levels are high, blood pressure is going to be high. All right. So again, that goes back to those carbohydrates.
Carbohydrates raise insulin levels.
Yes. And we need carbohydrates. It's not that they're the worst thing ever. It's just that it has to be in check. We want to focus on the other things and have a little bit of the fun stuff, to keep us sane. All right.
I look forward to where we go next.
Go get some water, everybody.
Right.
So I want to thank you for tuning in to the Model Health Show, and make sure for more after the show, you head over to theshawnstevensonmodel.com. That's where you can find the show notes. And if you got any questions or comments, make sure to let me know. And please head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and let everybody know that our show is awesome and you're loving it. Yeah. And I read all the comments, so please leave me a comment there. And take care, everybody. Promise to keep giving you more powerful, empowering, great content to help transform your life. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening.
Your mind and your body are the most important assets you have. Learn how to maximize your potential and create a body and life you love. For more information, visit theshawnstevensonmodel.com.